Hey everybody, Un here, and boy do I feel crappy today. Nevertheless, the show must go on, and our latest excursion here on I Played a Thing will be 1997's Princess Crown for the Saturn. Princess Crown is a side-scrolling action RPG developed and published by Atlas, but the director and some of the team involved would later go on to form Vanillaware. Therefore, this game can be considered something of a spiritual predecessor to Odin Sphere and Muramasa the Demon Blade. Now, this edition of I Played a Thing will be something of an experiment. Reason being, Princess Crown has never been released outside of Japan or English patched, so all of the text is going to be in Japanese, and I'll try to summarize what's happening in the story as we go. I'm not sure how this will work out in practice, but I'll give it my best shot, and I do hope you enjoy the trip. Ah, dear Saturn, you left us too soon. Well, not really. But I still think it's a really underrated system. The animation on the fairies will probably look a little weird because, I can only get this to encode decently at 30 FPS while the game runs at 60, but oh well. English. This is a further bit of intro, but we'll actually see it once again once we start the game, so I'll skip it for now and let it run when we actually get the game going. Now here we're controlling the little girl, and we can pick up the book or the cat. Picking up the cat and giving it to our grandmother will bring up a menu, but I don't know what it does. I haven't been able to find a translation for that menu anywhere, so we're just going to ignore that for now. To actually start the game, we're going to need to bring her the book and have her read it to us. Out of the way, cat. And this book contains the main story of Princess Crown. So we're going to select New Game. And get back to that intro. So here we have a demon attacking the kingdom of Levantine. He wants to know where the queen is, because the birth of the Demon King, the rebirth of the Demon King, requires royal blood. Naturally, the knights aren't having any of that, but looks like they don't have much of a chance. This is the court wizard, Justin I. Says the invasion shall progress no further, for his magic will prevail. Haha, is that all you got? But the Queen, Elfaron, has arrived. She and her knights will strike the demon down. Justin I is going to help out by enchanting her sword in a moment after a little more carnage. That did it. And now we flash forward. This is Gradriel, our protagonist. Yeah, it's probably supposed to be Galadriel, but I actually kind of like the name Gradriel, so we'll stick with that. Anyway, this is her coronation. She has 2 older sisters, and I'm not sure why they're not inheriting the crown ahead of her. Maybe they're just not into the whole royalty thing. And I like the way Justin I's cane just hovers there while he's doing other things with his hands. And we've got a new queen and everyone is happy. And now, we've got a few royal petitioners. This first gentleman is from the port town of Leland, and is talking about the tyrant Portgus, a pirate leader, who is screwing up the merchant trade by hijacking ships, and Gradriel is giving permission for the apprehension of Portgus. This next guy is from the town of Nutsville, where the village children are disappearing, and he thinks this is the fault of the fairies, and is asking for permission to investigate and burn the fairies for witchcraft. Gradriel grants permission, but asks them not to burn the fairies. And so Justin I calls forth the final bearer of news, who reports that the western town of Drangora is being overrun by dragons. And Gradriel says that the Royal Guard, the Kado Knights, will leave their castle duties temporarily and head off to Drangora to investigate. That's all for audiences today. Now it's time for Gradriel's fencing lesson, also known as the tutorial battle. I believe here Gradriel's saying that she wants to leave the castle and, see some of these problems herself, but Justin I's kind of sketchy about that whole idea, doesn't want her to put herself in danger. But Gradriel wants to be a brave queen, just like Elfaran was, and so we're gonna go have our training now. This is Quine, the leader of the Kado Knights, and he's going to be our tutorial fight. Now, the combat system in Princess Crown is fairly unique. It works like a one-on-one fighter. But for the moment, we can check our inventory. Those heart fruit things are healing items. Very weak, but every little bit helps. And we also have a few throwing daggers. Over here we can organize our inventory, and this is the map screen. But enough of that, let's go talk to Quine. Now, here he's just explaining the controls, but fighting Quine, there is no penalty for failure. You just start the fight over, but you do have to win. He'll just kind of bet you out and say, fight again if you lose. So we shall endeavor not to do that. Okay, we've got our hit points, we've got Quine's hit points, and the power is our sort of stamina meter. Doing just about anything requires stamina. Now, pressing the B button when you're about to be attacked gives you the option select in which you can sidestep or backstep. So those are our evasive moves. You can also hold down B and wait for an attack, but that saps your power. So we've got a jumping attack, we've got a ducking attack that causes a dash forward, very handy for closing distance sometimes, and our standard standing attack, which can be comboed as you see. You can also block by pressing back, just like most fighting games, but as you just saw with Quine blocking, it's not absolute defense. You do still take fractional damage. And holding down the attack button causes you to do that sword-assisted Shoryuken you just saw. Now that is our most powerful attack, but as you probably noticed, it leaves Galadriel a bit winded, and so she has to recharge some of her power before she can move again. You can also access your active inventory slots whenever you're in combat, but eating in combat is a bit slow and leaves you vulnerable. So you have to make sure you've got some space before you heal up. And winning with the Shoryuken gives you that nice starburst effect. And that's really about all there is to the combat system, although there are lots of items that can be used in combat. We'll be covering those as we acquire them. It looks like it's Galadriel's bedtime. However, our young princess really wants to go out and be a brave queen and see the world and investigate some of the problems of her subjects, so she's going to sneak out of the castle. Puts on her dress and armor amazingly fast. Oh, when we're out of combat, we can run. Nothing too special about it, just covers distance faster. Now, before we leave the castle, we'll need to talk to our sisters, Ariel and Sidra. Here's Ariel in the blue. She's studying to find a cure for the disease that Sidra is suffering. Don't know too much about the details of that disease, but Sidra is ill, that's the important thing. And she hasn't figured it out yet, but we do get our HP healed here. So yay for that. And the next door down is Sidrail's room. And she looks healthy enough. The important thing is, from Sidra we get a lucky pendant. There it is in the inventory with the +1. The lucky pendant reduces damage somewhat. The +1 is its durability. When you have items equipped in combat, sometimes they get knocked off of you, and every time an item is knocked off, it loses a plus. When an item runs out of pluses, it gets broken. That kinda sucks. Fortunately, there are ways to increase the durability of items, mainly by +1 scrolls, which add 1 plus to an item predictably enough. I think that's just an I's room, and we obviously don't want to go in there if we're trying to sneak out of the castle. Here, however, we have a priest who works like a free inn. At an inn, or inn equivalent, we have the options of resting, saving, or just leaving. And if you rest as I just did, you will then get the option to save as well. At proper inns in the towns in the game, resting and saving will cost you money, but just saving is free. Now, we could talk to all these people wandering the castle, but I don't know what most of their dialogue says anyway. I'm sure it's mostly just flavor text, so we'll just carry on and pick up one more item and then get on our way. I believe it is leftmost on the second floor what we need. That is some pretty impressive cleavage Elferon is sporting there. Okay, this door, I believe, is where our little bonus is lurking. Yes. In that chest we will find a defense potion. As you would expect, that increases our defense temporarily, but just like eating food, drinking potions in combat takes a moment or two, and if you get interrupted, you don't get the benefit. So you want to make sure you have some space free whenever you're using a healing food item or drinking anything, because you don't want it to be wasted if you get hit out of it. Now that we've cleaned out everything worth getting in the castle, we're going to make a break for it. Shit. Busted. Well, I suppose the gate guard isn't going to be letting us out that easily, so off we go. Now, who the hell is that? This, it turns out, is the fairy Aria. She's going to be joining us for much of the game. Now, Aria wants us to go to Nutsville, the town where the children are disappearing, and where the fairies are being blamed for it. She says the fairies are not to blame for the disappearing children, and she wants us to check it out for ourselves. Well, that sounds perfectly in line with the kind of thing Gradriel wants to do anyway, so we'll make that our first sort of mini-quest. And Aria's helping out here by distracting the guard. Jackpot. And so we bid farewell to Levantine Castle. In which it appears our disappearance has been discovered. Crap. We better cheese it. Well, now we're in the wilderness outside of Levantine Castle. We're first going to head to Levantine Town, but in the meantime, we can pluck healing fruit from the trees. I believe this is the weakest healing item in the game, but better than nothing. And that use pouch is what appears in our active inventory. We can't use the other pouch in combat. Speaking of which, our first wandering monster, a level 1 dodo. Not a big deal at all. Now, dodos are some of the weaker monsters in the game, but... ooh, an egg. The level is important. Even a high-level dodo can be dangerous. But this one's level 1, so it's extremely weak. Only has a few attacks. A beak slash, a butt drop, and I think that's about it. That's a bomb, which is rather hard to hit with. I usually don't bother with them. Oh, we've been dodged. It is important to note that monsters can also option select. But his ass just got dragon punched. And our first non-tutorial victory grants us a treasure chest with a bit of gold and some healing fruit. We certainly don't need any more of that where we are. And here we are at Levantine Town. Now you may recall that we picked up an egg during combat. That, in its raw form, is not edible. Now if you have a pan and some seasoning, then you can cook it for yourself, but we don't have any of that stuff, so I'm going to stop in at the pub and get them to cook the egg for me. This is how raw food generally works in Princess Crown. So if we talk to the bartender, we get a few choices. The first of which is to have him cook something. So we're going to give him the egg. And for 30 gold, we will receive a nice hot egg on toast. Excellent. The second option in the pub is to order the house special, which is pre-cooked food. It'll be 40 gold. And it looks like the special in Levantine Town is another egg on toast. Well, it's a decent healing item, so that's okay. It's worth always ordering the special when you find a new pub, because if you eat all the specials in the game, something good happens. Anyway, that's about enough for our introduction to Princess Crown, so I am going to save up, and we'll call it a day. This has been with I Played a Thing, Princess Crown Edition. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.